You're listening to The Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Gulseth.
Thanks to Concordia University Wisconsin for supporting The Coffee Hour. You can find out more about Concordia University Wisconsin at cuw.edu.
Live uncommon.
And we're going to find out more about Concordia University Wisconsin and new programs at Concordia Wisconsin, which is really exciting today. We are headed to Concordia University Wisconsin in Mequon, Wisconsin. Our guest today, Dr. Subha Kumpaty, is the engineering program chair at Concordia University Wisconsin, Concordia University Ann Arbor. Dr. Kumpaty, thank you so much for being our guest.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm glad to be here, Andy.
You are rather new to Concordia University, Wisconsin, so we're excited to introduce you as one of the newest members of the faculty at Concordia University, Wisconsin, and that is because of the launch of engineering programs at Concordia University, Wisconsin. Let's start with your career path. When did you start developing an interest in engineering?
Yeah, I studied at a very prestigious residential high school in India, where we were actually given some time to just sit down and do math, practice on our own for about 1.5 hours in the morning, even before the school started. That means they wanted to make sure that we are sharp in math skills and really practice them. And so that really triggered me to do very well in math. I always aimed at, trying to get 100 out of 100 in every exam that I took. And that's exactly what happened, including the GRE exam, 800 out of 800 in the quantitative. But the idea is, not to miss anything, because it's such a beautiful skill that to have, sharp and alert in things like this. So it eventually led to engineering as a path for me. Yeah.
Where did that go when you wanted to be an engineer? You knew that this was something you wanted to pursue. Where did that education experience go for you from that point?
So what happened is, most of my classmates, we were really doing well. We always thought math, physics, chemistry would be the pre-university, beyond high school education. And so it just blossomed into, a love for engineering. And that continued with my bachelor's in mechanical engineering and master's in mechanical engineering, both in India, in National Institute of Technology. And then I came for Ph.D. at the University of Mississippi, that is in mechanical engineering at Ole Miss. So that's how it went. Yeah.
And engineering is not the only thing that you've studied as well, correct?
Yeah, you're right. So I have always had a desire to study theology, especially, I have been brought up in a Christian home. Lutheran missionaries came all the way from Germany in the beginning in 1880s, and my grandparents came to the Lord that way. And then later on, American Lutheran Church had. And then, for example, Dayton, Ohio, I have a great hero that I visit when I go to the cemetery, Mrs. Margaret Stahl, who nurtured my mom in a Cheersley Memorial Girls High School Lutheran boarding home. So it's kind of, I have the background in terms of loving the Lord, loving Christ and the church. And so I had the desire to do a study. And then what happened is in 1990, Urbana, I went to a college students mission conference by InterVarsity Christian Fellowship. And then there I met the Tyndale Theological Seminary in Fort Worth, Texas. They were offering extension course work. And so I was able to talk to Professor Malcouch of that. He said I would be good to do a theology degree. I just said I would probably be having a vocation of engineering. And so I'll be helping in the church as a counseling person, a person who leads the Bible studies. So Doctor of Ministry was the right one for me. In 1994, I finished it after getting a Ph.D. in mechanical engineering in 1991.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how do those two things go together? I also have 2 degrees that don't totally relate all of the time, and yet they tend to intersect at interesting points in my life. So I'm curious how that has played out for you with a degree in engineering, a degree in theology. How does that play out working together in your life?
Yeah, so as you see, teaching has been one of my common themes. So my parents were teachers. There's a love for helping others learn material, and so that when I do engineering, when I'm teaching Bible, so I'm able to dovetail those things together. And again, you see Christ doing in a very creative ways, meeting different people and meeting their needs in different ways. Whether he talked to Samaritan woman or whether he talked to Nicodemus, and his style is completely, his teaching style. You can see how he did it. So in that way, it's like we are a whole person, but you have degrees in both of these things. And the goal, of course, is in engineering is to create something, a product or a process that is of great benefit to the society. So it works out in that way. Yeah. So most recently, maybe I can answer more after after other questions. But
Well, tell us about why it was important to you to come to Concordia University to lead the new engineering programs.
yeah, so it's sometimes it's the Lord's calling, and it is the perfect match. Concordia needed me, and I needed to be at Concordia. I wanted to serve at a Christian university. I have served at the Milwaukee School of Engineering for 26 years, and I have done extremely well with the gifts and talents God has given. And one time I received the Oscar, where was the Outstanding Teacher Award, and I told everyone, I'm placed here on earth with an intention that I work. I'm created for the joy and beauty that hides in partial differential equations. I'm created for the art of teaching that refreshes a student in dire need of understanding concepts. I'm created for freedom to work independently within good and appropriate boundaries. I'm created for excellence in engineering and its pedagogical and research applications. I'm created for relationships with students and colleagues that yield positive results for the community at large. So these kinds of things, when you think of it, I mean, I realized that in Concordia, the students are going to be whole in their growth, and I can nurture their gifts and passions for Christ and the church, that they may serve the world. So that's kind of what happened. I must say one thing though, when I was debating whether I should accept the offer or stay back at MSOE, we came to the chapel. My wife and I came to the chapel. We sat there, and there was a hymn that was the number. I just we opened that hymn, and it spoke to me. It goes something like this: "O Christ, who sent the 12 on paths that never trod, to suffer, teach, proclaim the nearer reign of God. Send us on paths where faith transcends timidity, where love informs and hope sustains both life and ministry." So that the hymn really, I closed the hymn, and my wife and I, we prayed and went to the dean. I said, I'm accepting the offer. I want to bring in the nearer reign of God through the engineering program here with the students that we will have, that they can have a wholesome education, not only technical competency, professional skills, but a global Christian perspective. So that's how I came here. And I feel at peace because that's God's calling.
That's such a great story. And I love that hymn is part of it. That's such a powerful thing when all of it, something just clicks for you in that moment, that you know that's where you're supposed to be. And I heard you say the joy of differential equations. And that statement right there, I am confident that these students are going to love you and you're going to be a great director, because it takes special. I grew up in a family of engineers. And so somebody that loves differential equations is a very special person. So I'm really glad that you're there and you're able to be with these students. What do you love about this opportunity to be able to teach engineering in a Lutheran Christian setting?
Yeah, as I said, usually engineering is a process. It's a practical application of math and science to create, to design, to test and to improve, systems. And with always an end goal of societal benefit. So, how wonderful it is to work with the students to take them through the entire process. They need to get their technical skills, content first, but that they have to apply immediately. So they can, so many systems that they can create. It could be a technological solution, or it could be in financial services, or it could be a manufacturing process. All of these, they use those skills to grow. A lot of times, if they know why, for example, a differential equation, when I say, if you just simply say 5x double dot plus 2x dot plus 10x equals 20, and then try to solve for x as a function of time, when you say double dot, that means it's a second derivative of displacement with time. But, when you just say that, they may not as much appreciate, but when you explain that the acceleration x double dot, the coefficient is a mass. And when you say the x dot, which is the velocity variable, so the coefficient of that is a damping. And then, the coefficient of x, the displacement, is a spring. So when you put this mass spring damper system, or when you put a, resistance, inductor, capacitance systems, they just get excited. Why are we learning this? There is a purpose why I learned this. I have to work with these things to create a particular system that produces a particular, solution or the end result. So, yeah, so that's kind of why I think I will be able to excite the students about why they are doing what they are learning.
And we're going to learn more about what those practical solutions mean when it comes to a career and how they're put to use in a career. We'll learn more about that in just a moment. You're listening to The Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Gulseth.
At Concordia University Wisconsin, we believe you were created for a reason: to use your God-given gifts to help others, to live a life of self-sacrifice in a me-first world, to live a life that's uncommon. Whether you're taking one of 50-plus online programs or learning with us in person on the shores of Lake Michigan, you'll be equipped to make an uncommon impact. Learn more at cuw.edu. Concordia University Wisconsin. Live uncommon.
Welcome back to The Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Gulseth.
We are visiting with the new Director of Engineering Programs at Concordia University Wisconsin. Our guest today, Dr. Subha Kumpaty. He is the Engineering Program Chair for Concordia University Wisconsin and Concordia University Ann Arbor. Dr. Kumpaty, tell us about the new engineering programs. What are the specific engineering opportunities for students at Concordia, Wisconsin?
Yes, they have industrial engineering and chemical engineering. In fact, in November 2022, they submitted to the HLC Higher Learning Commission the approval to the permission to start these programs. It's because of the, CUW has a strong math, chemistry, and pharmacy programs already here. And hence it was a natural path for chemical engineering and then the industrial engineering. They were envisioned to grow out of the strengths that already exist at Concordia University. Yeah, it is uniquely unique. It is unique in terms of, because of our faith. And these programs, literally, the U.S. Department of Labor statistics will show you that there's a great projected need for these engineers in the workflows in the next 10 years. And so that's kind of what Concordia University has started us off. So my work is now to build these programs, work on the curriculum and work on the lab space, work on the faculty and all of the details. I'll be working out this whole year. We can add more programs, but we want to establish these two programs. They are very natural outgrowth of some of the programs that already exist at Concordia. Usually the first 2 years, there's a lot of math, physics, chemistry, and humanities type of classes that need to be taken. So we have time to ramp up the programs. Yeah.
So you said industrial and chemical engineering, and those are two of several other fields in engineering. So starting with those two, can you describe what each of those programs looks like, what that type of engineering is, and in when you're an industrial engineer or a chemical engineer, what those two fields actually look like?
Yeah, industrial engineering is more about efficiency in systems. There can be manufacturing system or a service system. It's more optimization and making sure the processes are good and also efficient. That's the type of background the industrial engineering does. Whereas chemical engineering is also, there's all kinds of applications, whether it be food and, oil and so many, it's a lot of, when you think all the chemical processes that we have. So it is a great, it's chemical engineering is a program where they learn. It's not chemistry, but even the machines that process, for example, distillation and those kinds of things. There'll be on a macroscopic scale. How do you bring these systems into performance? So that's kind of the chemical engineering. Really, we have a lot of chemical reactors and other things that go into that. For our already pharmacy school has quite a bit of pharmaceutical engineering. Sometimes it's called chemical/pharmaceutical engineering because of the nature of things that they do. And obviously people's health and that's very important. And some of these things are contributing to the chemical engineering. Yeah.
What's the career outlook for industrial engineering and for chemical engineering as well? What are the career opportunities and what is the outlook for those?
Yeah, and we have local industry quite a bit, right? In Wisconsin, in Milwaukee area, there are so many companies, for example, Sigma Aldrich and chemical company. And there are so many companies that have all these industrial systems. A lot of times, even, many companies, they need quality control, and, an industrial engineering major would bring in quality control. And so in any process in our manufacturing industry all across this, Wisconsin, I can think of many places, Milwaukee Tool, Johnson Controls, so many other places we have in Waukesha Engines, Midwest Engineered Systems, so many wonderful companies out there. They look at a process, are we doing it efficiently? Are we doing is the quality control there? So they do have plenty of opportunities. And a lot of times industrial engineers, I think it is very good for female students. And, when they think of, where should I go into mechanical engineering or some other engineering program, but it's so they can easily see a good industrial engineering as a good profession for female students. And so we can always encourage them to pursue that. So that's why we have plenty of opportunity in our area. And of course, all across the nation, engineers are going to be needed even more. We see that the retiring, a lot of people are retiring, and then there are a lot of need for fresh engineers in the society. So they'll do very well, I'm sure, when they especially have a wholesome education here with a purposeful life. I always go back to that verse in John 15, verse 16. That says, you did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you to go and bear fruit, a fruit that will last. So that's my desire, that the Concordia University students will be able to go bear fruit that will last. As I said in Colossians 3:17, it says, whatever you do, whether in word or deed, do it all in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God the Father through him. So I hope these are some of the skills that we also have in CUW in the learning outcomes, the core outcomes. So they will help in their wholesome growth, and they will be uniquely purposed individuals to be effective engineers in the world. So
yeah, that's really wonderful, forming not just really good engineers who know their stuff, who've gone through I'm sure there'll be rigorous engineering classes to know how to be great in that vocation as an engineer, but then also forming great Lutheran Christians coming out of a university as well to be able to serve faithfully in their vocations. That's really wonderful. What is exciting about being an engineer? Why should a young adult consider engineering as a future vocation?
Yeah, yeah, see, I must say that engineering is fun. It is never boring. It is satisfying and uplifting. Because a lot of times you can see the even on the job. In 5 years from now, what they would do will be very different from what they are doing now. That's kind of always a growing thing. So it challenges talented people to use all their skills on a daily basis. That's what engineers do. I mean, engineering is in that sense. So I can easily simply say, graduates create value in process or product or service at the workplace, right? So that's kind of the direction in which they go. And then I'm sure they will be able to help remove wastage. We always talk about green things. And then, the lean manufacturing, we say, and all that kind of details. So they will be able to improve systems efficiency. And so it's always an exciting field. And like I said, there's more need for fresh talent in that sense. And then when you go out, the Concordia, the difference in I'm going to hope to see in the Concordia University graduates would be graduating engineers would be that they are looking beyond themselves, right? That means they are entering to learn and departing to serve. They are a glory of God as the end goal of their life, edification of people around as the incentive for them in their engineering work. So I think that's why this is going to be special as we launch these programs. So I'm dreaming big. I'm looking big. I'm looking forward to big things happening at Concordia.
Yeah.
How can we stay informed about the engineering programs at Concordia? How can prospective students learn about the engineering programs at Concordia?
I hope that we will continue to reach out through various by attending schools locally. And then I'm sure there are all kinds of billboards that will come up. Have you considered engineering? Concordia is the place. And so, I hope we will continue. In fact, for the next year, we're targeting certain numbers. And then there are already some students that have shown interest and they're calling on the admissions. And then we will be visiting, like I said, the schools as well. In fact, this year, we're calling it pre-engineering because 4 students have signed up for engineering. 1 in chemical engineering, 3 in industrial engineering. So we hope that in the next year, we will be able to have the pre-engineering students as well as the incoming engineering students to start off the engineering basic classes like foundations or fundamentals class next year. And yeah, so I hope that we will be able to continue to share that we are here. Concordia is going to be a place to come. And I'm sure there is a particular type of student, such as some people that are homeschooled and wanting a Christian university. So I think that will also help. I must say one thing, though. I had a great relationship with one student, David Rutkowski. He grew up in this area, local Lutheran schools. His church came to Concordia University campus beach to even have summer, services and things like that. But he did not. He went to Valparaiso University because they didn't have engineering here. So he went to Valparaiso University, and then at MSOE I did the research experience for undergraduates. So I invite students from all over the nation to come and experience research at the great facilities of MSOE. And I invite David Rutkowski to come for that. And so he and we did the pediatric airways, and we solved kind of a process for a student, a child that had issues with, the air not going through one lung because of the kink in the pediatric airway. So in any case, we were able to do computational fluid dynamics of that pediatric. And then that triggered him after finishing at Valpo, the bachelor's degree, he went to UW-Madison to get his biomedical engineering Ph.D. And so he's employed now. And he told me, Dr. Kumpaty, my life has been around you and Concordia, but Concordia didn't have engineering. That's why I didn't go there. And now there will be many people that will come to Concordia. There is a Christian university in Wisconsin that has engineering. So it's interesting to see, people were crossing the borders into Indiana to get engineering in the past. Hopefully not anymore. And so that'll be fun.
Very good. Find out more at cuw.edu. You can find out more information about the engineering programs there. Our guest today, Dr. Subha Kumpaty. He's the engineering program chair for Concordia University Wisconsin, Concordia University Ann Arbor. Thank you so much for being our guest on the Coffee Hour.
Well, thank you very much, Andy and Sarah, for having me. It's a great pleasure to do this. Thank you very much for having me.
You've been listening to the Coffee Hour. I'm Andy Bates.
I'm Sarah Wilson.
The Coffee Hour with Andy and Sarah is a production of KFUO. To support the Coffee Hour and KFUO Radio, visit kfuo.org. You can also text KFUO to 41444 or send an email to gifts@kfuo.org. And you can call us at 800-844-0524. KFUO. Christ for you, anytime, anywhere.